Welcome to Bear Insight, everyone. I am your host, Guillian. If this is your first time seeing this podcast today, welcome. We're excited to have you. If you like what you see today, like, subscribe, and hit that notification. Today, we got a special interview today. Not only this person has a very objectively full story, in my opinion, but a very interesting one as he's played football for Campbell University in and out. And he was a Georgian standout. Let's just say that. Let's give a warm welcome to former offensive lineman and former GA himself, Austin Blake.
What's up, guys? Well, thanks, Paul, for the introduction. Thank you.
Yes, no worries. How's your day been?
My day's been good. Back home in Georgia, just hanging out with my family before I head back up to North Carolina. Just enjoying some time. How are you doing?
I'm good. Can't complain. I mean, it's another day we get to live. That's how I see it.
Exactly.
So you have an interesting story to tell us. So tell us, how'd you get here today? Because I mean, I kind of know your story, but the audience
Yeah.
doesn't know your story. So explain it to the audience.
Yeah. So I'm from Georgia. I played at Buford High School. That's like for a lot of people, that's like a powerhouse program. You have a lot of people that are in college ball right now. But played at Buford High School. Then I went to Campbell University, where I was primarily a center guard combo. I wish I was taller. I'm not by any stretch of time. But yeah, played center guard there, was blessed enough to play in about 9 games as a freshman due to, teams were playing, but also some injuries. And then blessed enough my sophomore year of college, I was able to earn a starting left guard spot and started the entire year that way. So that's kind of like the beginning of it. And then kind of got hurt during my sophomore year, starting conference play, tore my labrum, played the rest of the year. And then kind of once I had surgery on Valentine's Day, kind of everything from there kind of transpired to what kind of the story is today.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, quickly on a side note, talk about Georgia, like talking about the powerhouse. Can you like explain a little more about Georgia High School? Because it's like up
Yeah,
there when people have those debates as one of the more like echelon type of
dominant.
high school, where it's
Yeah,
like it's the big three from everyone saying it's California, Texas, Georgia. What do you think about that?
yeah. Then of course people throw. I mean, you throw in Florida for speed. Just because like Miami's and everything down there. California and Texas are just big because of the population that they have. Um, Georgia high school football is like different. I would say we have a little bit of everything. I played against Trevor Lawrence in high school. It's home of Justin Fields as well. I'm blanking on, but like, you got Shannon Sharp that's from that's from the southern Georgia part. But kind of my high school is focused in Gwinnett County, and I call it like it's like college football city here. Like it's not like Texas with we don't have all the funding that Texas ball has, but I would say like per high school in the county, we send probably at least 10 kids per high school to go play college ball. That's from FBS all the way down to JUCO to NAIA ball, D3. There's a bunch of kids that are able to be sent and have their colleges paid for, or they get opportunities to go play. So just Georgia high school football is different. Buford High School is a city school. So it's like a mixture of a private and a public school, meaning by like if you live within the city area, you go there for free. Like just like how you go to a public school, it's free all the way up until you're 18. But if you live outside of these city limits, you have to pay a certain tuition to go in. So that's what I did. I was zoned for Mill Creek High School. Also, Collins Hills in the county too. That's home to Travis Hunter. Uh, so like if you live within the county, like I could have transferred to Collins Hill or Mountain View or some of these other high schools and not have paid anything because, yeah, like it's different cities, but they're all a part of the same county. While Buford and some other city schools like Carrollton, like Central City School, like if you're not within the city limits, you have to pay a certain tuition to go in. So definitely Georgia ball is like different, I would say it's from the top four. And then of course you can throw in like Ohio. People throw that in there for just powerhouse. It's always been an opportunity. People always like once it's high school football season, everything's a madhouse here, just trying to get everything figured out. And there's a bunch of other high schools that I haven't mentioned but are really good, like probably Walton, Jefferson, of course, all of Gwinnett County, like Norcross has like Alvin Kamara, who is there. And then, at one point, Grayson, they have like Kenyatta Watts, yeah, Kenyatta Watson, but then he has like Owen Papo and then Wanya Morris, who's with the Chiefs. But there's a bunch of talent through all over the county, which is exciting to not only play against, but also meet the people. So that's all exciting there for Georgia high school football.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. And then when you got to your time, I mean, you kind of explained it a little bit, but how was your time at Campbell? Like, did you overall felt like it was explain that to the audience?
Yeah. So my time at Campbell was amazing. I got my undergrad degree and my graduate degree. I got my undergrad degree in healthcare management. Got my master's in public health. Campbell was honestly, it was a great fit because my whole family is from the Raleigh Durham area. So Campbell was about 50 minutes to an hour away. And, Campbell sometimes gets a bad rap because it's in the middle of nowhere, as people call it. Like it's far enough from everything, but it's close enough to everything. It's about an hour or so from Raleigh, about another hour or so from like Durham and Durham and Chapel Hill. It's about another hour from Fayetteville. So we're close enough to everything. And we're, 30 minutes away from Holly Springs. But during the football season, it was cool because you didn't have a bunch of outside noise. You could focus on your academics or, the football landscape. And you're like, because of some injuries and whatnot, I was able to start 4 games as a freshman and play in 9. And then my sophomore year, I was able to earn the starting spot for left guard, which was amazing through all the hard work and dedication and constant faith, being able to make it that way. But Campbell itself is amazing. It's a great academic school. For it being smaller, sometimes people call it a glorified high school because you got about 3,500 students there on campus. So everybody knows you. So that could be good or bad depending on what's going on. But the class size was great. I think in my major, I had a class size of like 10 people. So like you got to know the people in your class very well. And from my experience, it was super helpful. I still trying to be around the program or still be around the school just because of how much it impacted me and the people that I met and the friends that I have. So, it was all inclusive, a great experience. And I would honestly go back if I had the chance again.
That's awesome. So then you talked about your time there. I'm going to bring this up now.
Yeah.
You suffered from a rare neurological disorder,
Yeah.
GBS. Is Guillain-Barre Syndrome? Is that how you announce?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's called, I guess it's French, like Guillain-Barré syndrome or
Guillain-Barre.
Guillain-Barre. It's the same thing. Like, you can say that too. And it's not like,
Mhm.
no one's going to get mad at you for saying it a certain way because it's weird to say.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to make sure. So, but you got GBS, which is a
Mm-hmm.
rare, very, very rare neurological condition. Can you explain that to the audience? Because I did not know this until
Yeah.
I got to meet you. And I think this is something we do need to emphasize more because I think what you've gone through
Mm-hmm.
is massively impressive.
Yeah. So Guillain-Barré, as you're saying, is like an autoimmune disorder, like neurological. So pretty much your immune system kills your nerves practically. There's a myelin sheath that surrounds your nerves that helps send signals each one. Like, telling myself to move the finger, brain sends it to different nerves to send to make me move my finger. Well, your immune system naturally kills that myelin sheath, which then disconnects that connection that would send the nerve signal all the way through. So usually, how it happens, there's women that get it from having C sections. You can get it from getting vaccinations. That does not mean that hey, like if you get a flu shot, you're going to get it. It happens in 1 in 100,000 people. So I'm one of the rare breeds, I guess, but happens about 1 in 100,000 people. You can get it from being sick. Like you could have the flu or something, and you can get it, or just it's very spontaneous. Like there's no real predictor. There's like, okay, hey, you were sick and you got it, but there's no real like, hey, you were smoking, now you have lung cancer. Like nothing like that direct that could lead to causes of it.
Okay. What are some, is there any genetic factors that play into it?
No, so it is not genetic.
Okay.
It's sadly just chance that
Okay.
that it happens. And like how it works is that it works distal, meaning distal starts at fingers and toes, to where and then it works its way up or in to your body. So how it happened for me was I was it was snowing here at Campbell, so I went outside, played in the snow, and like my feet and fingers felt weird. This is when I had labor surgery too, to where like my feet and fingers felt weird, but of course didn't think about it. You're like, oh, it's snowing. But gradually each day, my body got weaker and weaker to where it became hard to get up out of bed, walk to class, to where when my mom picked me up to take me back home for like spring break, I was walking like a toddler, very like on like very like I guess on the balls of my feet. Like I was walking very slow, and even my professors were like, "Are you okay? Like what's going on here?" And I was like, "I don't feel well." And then that's how it gradually kept on going that way toward yeah. So it works distal and it moves into your body slowly.
Is there going to be like any long-term ramification with this, or is this just kind of a once in a blue moon type of syndrome?
So there's two types. So Guillain-Barré happens one time, meaning by for some people, like for me, my first time I had it, it went to my mid chest. So from my chest down, I couldn't feel anything. So doctors would come in, they would have little pins, or they would have little tic tacs, like not to like stab your foot, but just press it, rub it up and down for feeling sensation. I couldn't feel nothing. Or you could dump hot water on my legs, I wouldn't feel it. I mean, it's sensory, it's motory nerves, like all that gets shut down. To where some people have it worse enough to where, and also it depends on when you get care. So like if you wait super long, but also for some people it can be quick or not. Because I was an athlete, they thought that since I worked out all the time, it took so long to get up for me to know. Some people, like I had a buddy of mine, his dad got it to where he was playing racquetball at like a Gold's Gym, stood up, walked outside, and like collapsed outside. Like something that crazy and quick can happen. So yeah, so for me, back to what I was saying, there's two types. There's Guillain-Barré, but then there's a chronic form called CIDP. It's chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. That is what I have. So I have gone for about 4 years to Duke Hospital for neuromuscular, to where I've been put on steroids, like not like, hey, let me get jack steroids, the steroids that are good for your body, or
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and then like a immune suppressant drug to where it lowers my immune system to help counterbalance how high my white blood cells are. So the chronic form, there's two types of that, to where one of them is like a roller coaster. It goes up and down, but also that's why you're on meds. Like that's the one I have. That's the one you're on meds to regulate it, to where you're just like this. Like you're fine. There's no ups and downs. You're keep on going. And then there's the other type to where it's just a gradual decline, to where you can never go back up. That one's even rarer than before. And usually CIDP happens, and usually older adults, 50 and older, that's usually what happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. That's something I did not know.
Yeah.
And looking back at it now with your GBS,
Mm.
what is one thing you take away? Is like, what is one thing that you take away from this, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent?
Um, so there's kind of like two things. The first most important thing is like faith saved my life. Uh, I grew up Christian, but I think, I kind of call this thing of like everybody has to bear their own cross. Like we all go through our own different experiences, just like how Jesus did. Now I will probably not be nailed to a cross. However, we each go through our own trials, and God, I believe gives us these trials and tribulations to help us not only unlock ourselves, but also to impact others and be able to grow and bring him or bring others closer to him. And, you know, my cross happens to be this very crazy syndrome where I had everything snatched away from me, all the, friends. It was also during COVID, so all the friends and the family that I had, and people that I was experiencing. I'm by myself in this hospital, by like alone with my own thoughts, and went through a lot of like sad times, but came out stronger because with one thing that faith gives you is hope for a better tomorrow, and a hope that no matter how crappy something might look, there's something that's going to be better on later on down the line by just keeping that faith and also being disciplined and consistent in your life. To where, I want to tell you this little story. I kind of like a come to Jesus moment to where I always believe, but I was sitting there and I was after my second relapse. I'm at Emory Hospital down in Atlanta, and I started this therapy pretty much to where I had a port in my chest, and I would it was pretty much getting like a human oil change. Pretty much, they would hook me up to this machine. It would take blood out of my heart, spin it through, and separate the blood from the plasma, and put good stuff back in me. So I call it a human oil change, pretty much.
Okay.
And pretty much like that night, I have been using a walker to walk around, maybe a couple feet, and I was like, crap. Like, I got to charge my phone because it's just me in this room. I think I watched the Solo movie about 30 times or how much it was on. But I was like, hey, like, I got to go get my phone. Like, I got to go charge. And then something, in my head, people could say the concept. I think it was God being like, get up and go. Like, so I got up and I literally walked to my charger, plugged my phone in, and went back and sat down. And it was crazy because I was sitting there because, when you're by yourself, you have all these doctors come in that treat you kind of like a lab rat. Like, like they don't mean to do it, but sometimes like that's how you feel. Is you're getting blood drawn at 3 a.m. They're coming in, pinching you, scratching just for tests that they have to do. And I'm sitting there like, God, like I gotta go. Like, kill me, let me go. Let me not be in this mental state. And something just internally is like, no, like I got more planned for you. Like, don't worry. Like, there's something more that I have, and it's that, that faith and like being like, you know what, like, like God's right. Like, I got so much more, and He has a much bigger plan than what I ever thought that I would have. And kind of the second thing is, you you never know what people are going through unless you know them. Like, like people, like they see me now and they're like, oh, like he's just former athlete, like, or like people see everybody like walking around, they're like, like this person has it all, when like internally they don't, or maybe they didn't previously. It's just now you see them and it's like, wow, like they have it all. It's like, well, you don't know some of the struggles that I've had unless I tell you, hey, like what I experienced. So I would say it's a main thing of treating everybody right. Like that's a very basic thing. Hey, treat everybody with respect. You know, just because you don't know what people are going through, and you can make such an impact on people's lives that's for forever, or that's for a certain amount of time. You could always make an impact on someone's life where someone looks back at, I call it like writing a book. Like, we're each writing a book of our life. Of, this is the book of Guillian, this is the book of Austin Blake, and people have, and people's names are in certain chapters of your life, and it's like, what is somebody else writing about you? Is it positive, like, hey, this person was loving, caring, they always were there for me, and like, and like, no matter what I was going through, they always had my back. Where it's like, man, this person sucked, they were awful, they made me feel like the worst person imaginable, they never had my back. Like, what are people writing about you? So it's about always treating people with respect, and making sure that you're always there to listen, to try to understand their life and maybe or maybe their past experiences.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. That is great. Wow, that is a lot to take in, but that's awesome. And so with you going through GBS,
Yeah.
you actually won an award, the Wilma Student Athlete Achievement Award. And can you explain a little bit more to that? And how was that like going through all of that after all that turmoil and that hardship
Yeah.
going to win that award?
Yeah. So the Wilma Rudolph Award is for student athletes who have overcome like physical, emotional, or like academic turmoil to now, like, I would say, come back to their sport. I, so, so the award is in June, and each year they switch. It's in Orlando or in Vegas. Blessed that my year it was in Vegas. I've never been to Vegas before. I had my whole family flown out thanks to Campbell. Like my whole family went out. It was like a cool day and a half experience. Never been there. It's hot. It's dry. It's like putting your head inside of a dryer. It is it is steaming hot, but it was awesome to go. Um, and it was really cool meeting some of the other student athletes that were there. There was I I believe it was weird. Like two of them had cancer. Like two of them had cancer. Another one had, it was not leukemia. I am blanking on it. And then like another one had like another nerve issue as well. But it was amazing going there and meeting all these people just because it felt bad because we were each trying to complain who had the worst story. Like like who actually deserves the greatest story. So, like I'm sitting here like, dude, you had cancer, and and then and then like the guy from Michigan State was like, you couldn't move. So it's like we're all just jokingly like this is all lighthearted jokes, like saying who has the worst story, like who deserves the award most. So that was kind of a funny thing that way. With all we're all looking back at it, like how can we make the most out of this very awful situation that none of us wanted, but how to make the best of it. And was able to go there. I had to give a speech in front of like 700 people, and at that time, like, I've always been a talker, but not in front of 700 people that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've definitely grown my communication skills and being able to talk in front of a large audience. That's an amazing experience. And just Vegas was cool. It was my family and we went to like Caesar's Palace, like went all the old downtown. I did blackjack. I won like $50 and I stopped because I knew that I couldn't stop at some point. So like that was fun. I won some money, and it was just an amazing experience being around. Of course, at that time it was the old staff of Mike Minner and some of the other ads that were there and some of the other staff that was there. But it was just an amazing experience meeting everybody that was there and also hearing other people's stories, because like that conference is for all like the athletic, like the academic, or it's like athletic, it's like the academics that are for the athletic program. So it's not like your classic advisors that you have for your degree. It's all the people for sports that help you navigate your academics. So like Miss Key and all of them, like that's what they're like. Yeah.
Right.
So this is a cool experience to meet all these people and just go somewhere new. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, I'm glad you even got the blackjack. So yeah, that's cool. And so last before we move on to your next phase, you went through
Yeah.
all that and you eventually played again, which was
Yeah.
awesome. And going to your last senior game, you played against Robert Morris, and I've heard there was a lot of emotion. So kind of going back and looking at it now, how was that playing your last game, going through GBS and then getting the Wilma Rudolph Award, just going through all of that really quickly?
I would say all it's like all the hard work, like literal blood, sweat, and tears, all the constant prayers, like finally paid off. Um, my dream when I came back was not to I'm gonna be this 2 3 year starter. I played, I started in my final 2 years after I started 2 games and I played in like five.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's not like I came back and was like this all American player, but I came back because my dream was wanting to hang up the helmet when I wanted to. I didn't want a doctor or somebody being like, "Hey, like you're done because I heard it all. Like it's suicide to go out and play again." And I was like, "Screw that! I'm gonna do it." and, let me hang up my helmet so that, when I started senior night against Gardner Webb, like that was amazing. Like I started playing the whole game, and, playing those final few weeks of, for my senior year, it was just a culminating thing of friends, family, faith, like everything that I worked for and all my teammates, everybody worked for, to where I could hang it up and be like, I did it. Thanks to my hard work, and of course, God being there and leading me through, and just everybody else being there. Like we were able to do this because like I might not be like this big time like guy going to the NFL or having that opportunity, but I have this story that I want to be able to share to others, and make other student athletes know that, hey, like whatever you're going through, it's gonna be all right, and you're gonna make it through towards the very end.
I know that's good. That's good. I was gonna tell you with the advice, but I think you hit that one nail on the head.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so eventually, as when you were done with your career, you moved on and you became a graduate assistant coach.
Yeah.
How was that like going from one staff to another staff, and just kind of explain that?
So, I mean, being a GA was a fun experience because you learn a lot about like leadership because you're leading men, and it's always funny because you and all the you and all the older predators like call me sir, and I'm like, I'm 1 year older than you. Like it's okay. Like, hey, like it's okay. You don't have to call me sir. Like, hey, it's totally okay. But it's fun because you get to learn a lot about leadership and how to bring bring like this information to a grand audience because my dream, once I was sick, I was a mathematics major. I switched to healthcare because my dream is to run and operate my own rehab facility one day. And being able to have leadership skills is very important because you have to create this environment, this culture that people want to be a part of. And that's something that I feel like I gained exponentially from that experience. But also, I wanted to be a coach at some point. Like, you know what? Like, I've always heard that, people are like, hey, like, you are very personable, you're smart. Like, let me see if I could do it. I tried it. I liked it for a little bit, but, people who don't understand coaching hours are long and they are hard. Like during the season, you're there from 8 to 8 pretty much. You're there 12 hours. So if you have a family, your wife and your kids got to be understanding that, hey, during the season, I'm not going to be home, which, for some people, they're like, hey, like we can do this. For me, it was not something that I could do. Not saying that I didn't like coaching. I did. It's just not something that I wanted to do at some point. And then switching to the next staff, I have like the next staff is great. It's very different because Coach Minner had a very open door policy. You can walk in at any time, talk to him, sit down, have a conversation. Coach Harris is a little different. He runs it just like an FBS program. You have to set a schedule, or get on his schedule to go have a conversation with him, which is different, but also that's the norm. Like, you can't just walk into Nick Saban's office or Kirby Smart's office and have a 2 hour conversation with him. You got to be like, hey, coach, I'm struggling with this. Is there any time you can talk? And then he'll make time that way. But like, that's just the difference. And I mean, both staffs were amazing. I have really no issues with either one, just because once I knew that coaching's not what I wanted to do, I kind of sound like some of the coaches know, hey, it's not what I want to do, but I still owe y'all my final semester of coaching and effort because y'all are paying for my final semester of school. Like I I owe you guys and the players this. Like, this is what I owe you. Like, because one of the coaches like, hey, like, you have to come here no more. And I'm like, hey, but I want to because, like, I'm not going to sit here and do nothing. Like, I still want to be a part of what you are doing until I'm done.
Hmm.
So, being a GA was a great experience. Going from playing to like coaching and doing all this film stuff, I probably learned more about football than I did in like all my playing just from having to do the film and break that down with blitzes and fronts and formations. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot more than what I thought. and it was amazing to really see and be a part of for the kind of the 2 years that I did it.
Okay. And what was one thing that you looked at, looking back at it now, and you're like, I did not expect this whatsoever?
I would say it's a lot of like player eval. Like I'm like because I don't know, I'm probably too nice. But it's like, I'm probably just way too nice to to probably these high schoolers. It's because like, you know, I want every kid to like get an opportunity, and like I sent out no offers, so I did not offer a single kid. So I don't think I'm out here just throwing Campbell offers like, oh my gosh, hi, like, and he said hi to me, but like it was very different. Just because there's like these high schoolers, because it was easy giving feedback to people who I know. Like, hey, like you or Tyler or Mike, like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. But like this kid who I just met, like just trying to learn how they work so that I could give them proper feedback. So like that was a cool experience, was learning how to give people feedback. Like, hey, you do this very well. Like but hey, this is something you need to improve on, but also how to say it, because you could tell, Big Mike and Tyler, like, hey, y'all flipping suck at this. Now, granted, they didn't suck at a lot of things, but it's like, hey, but like y'all are, hey, like y'all need to work on this to where they could take that. But maybe if you talk to like like incoming freshmen, they're so malleable to what you're saying, they're trying to absorb all this information that you can't look at them and be like, you suck, because like, oh my god, I can't do this no more. And it's like, no, like, hey, like you should really work on this. Like, how can we, hey, like how can we work together to create this plan for you? Like that was a cool experience, was learning how to convey this information to you, which is also something that I learned in my program with marketing and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting. That I did not know about. Does that also include with transfer players too? Do you feel like they're more malleable, or is it just more kind of like with freshmen because they're brand new to the scenario?
Like, probably with transfers, it's like, like with like yourself or other guys, it's
Mhm.
learning the culture about it, because y'all been a part of a program, so that's not the issue. Is like, hey, it's about just with y'all, like, hey, this is how we do it. How can we get y'all caught up to speed faster? Because a freshman, you can go, hey, this freshman got 2 years to redshirt and learn, but then with y'all, it's like we got to get these guys ready to, ready to play, because you don't bring in like, we brought in Big Vertus, like, you don't bring in Vertus to sit there,
Yeah.
you don't bring in transfers to sit there. Like freshmen, you bring in like, hey, this kid is 6'5", he's 6'5", 280. We can let him redshirt a year, get him to 290, build this muscle, get this frame right, and then going to a sophomore year, he's competing to start or then back up. And then by the time he's a redshirt sophomore, he's 305, maybe he's 6'6". He grew a
Mhm.
little bit. Like that's like, yeah, that's kind of the difference that I see.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just curious about that. And so now you've officially moved on as a coach, and now
Yeah,
you got a new job now. So tell us about that.
yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I was blessed enough to receive a job as the general manager for Game Day Men's Health. That's going to be in Cary. It's right next to Wake Med. So anybody out there so this is not your classic PCP, or your primary care provider. Like this isn't like you come in for like, hey, I need my annual checkup. That's not what it is. Usually
Mhm.
this clinic is more aimed towards kind of your probably 30 and up males. As you get older, you know, weight starts to become an issue, testosterone, like basic men's health issues start happening. So this clinic is designed for, you come in and we're able to give you extra care that maybe your basic family doctor is not able to provide to you. So how to maybe give you some testosterone to be able to boost your energy, your sleep, maybe you are maybe, as you get older, and some people have a very sedentary lifestyle, so maybe some people are gaining weight, to where, hey, what are some vitamins, what are some things that we have to give to you to where, help you manage your weight that way. And then there's also, game day also works with erectile health, for sexual health for men as well, to where there's like a huge array of services that game day can give, to where it can also better the life of men. But also women can come into it too, but we have to primarily market towards a male audience.
Okay. What? This is just because of the brand name within itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, no, that's interesting. That is interesting to know. I mean, congratulations again. That is awesome. That is awesome job. And I mean, I'm happy for you. You've gone through a lot. And so,
Yeah.
last question, just kind of you've been through a roller coaster already. You mean
Yeah.
you still got a lot of years left. You've already rode the rodeo. And
Yeah.
so I know there are going to be people that want to be like us, or if not, trying to be better, aka going to the NFL, UFL,
Yeah.
CFL, etc. What do you think, as a coach now, as a former coach and a former player, what do you think is the biggest advice you would give to those players that are coming up this day and age?
I would say anything, not only with football, but with life, it's discipline and consistency with how you do things. So,
Mm.
you know, it's like, the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yep.
But it's a thing of, if you want to make it to the NFL, some people are blessed enough to be athletic freaks of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are not. Like, some people you got to work, you're saying 3 times as hard for somebody who works out 1 time. Like, you got to work out 3 times to be able to catch up. So in college, it's a lot about your, like, hey, like if you work out, like, here's the thing, everybody else works out. So it's that extra field work. Maybe you go get another workout in, but however, like that another workout is not, doing 4 sets of 5 of back squat. Like maybe it's doing that pitch shark machine. It's your recovery. It's your diet. Because me going into my sophomore year of college, I was still learning everything. So I was trying to gain weight. I'm doing cookout at McDonald's, and I looked like a fat turd out there trying to block. And like, I mean, like, it wasn't too bad. Like I was still fast, but just like the weight could have looked so much better
Mm-hmm.
than what it did. So it's consistency with, your schoolwork. Not everybody's gonna be a 4.0, but it's doing your best to where, hey, you're staying above that 2.5 just to stay eligible. To be, hey, because why? Because you'll be able to still get your degree, or being able to get that 3.0 so that if you redshirt, you can go get that MBA. To where then by the time you're done, you have an undergrad degree and a master's, and and, and then little to no debt, to where now you're able to, set up your future family that way. So I would say it's discipline, because if your dream is the NFL, you have to sacrifice things now for things that you want. So it's like, for people who, they're like, hey, I really want to be a millionaire. Well, that's awesome. However, maybe for when you get out and you start working, maybe for the first 5 years, you are barely going out. You're saving a lot. You're investing a lot. You're keeping your extracurricular spending to a minimum, so that maybe when you hit 30 to 35, you're in this amazing house. You have great investments, to where now you're set up to where by the time you're 40, you're a millionaire. Like, that's just a very basic example. Like, most people might not hit that because based off your job. However, you have to sacrifice. So it's, we always talk about Julian Hill. He's the guy I played with. I maybe saw him at a party 5 times in the 5 years that he was there. Like, he never went out, ever. He literally, him and his guys. I mean, like it was a thing of dieting, exercise. So where now he's on the 53-man roster for the Dolphins, and he was a quarterback in high school played tight end for 5 years, and now he's an NFL tight end. Like that consistency and work. And of course, there's a bunch of other stories that you hear about people having to sacrifice things in order to get their dream because now you make it to the league and you're financially stable and you're putting all the right investments in. So even if you play for 6 years, by the time you're done, you can get a good job, and then you're able to have these investments that to where now you're living a comfortable lifestyle. And then being consistent, I would say be consistent in what you do. You can, because actions, you always hear it, actions speak louder than words. I could sit here and say I want to be the best version of myself, but if I go out there and I treat people with disrespect and I don't try to live as godly as a life as I try to, I mean, look, we're all going to fall short. We're all going to fail, but it is being consistent with what you say. If you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it at some point. If you are going to try to do something, make sure that you're putting the hard work in place to be able to get it done. Because why? People don't have regrets for things that they've done. It's usually things that they said that they were going to do and didn't. Like, we can always look back and be like, I should have worked out harder. I should have lifted, done one more curl. However, that's not going to be an issue. Usually people have these issues when it's like, you know what, I should have treated this person a lot better because now they are the ones that are giving me this job or something like that. So it's being disciplined in what you do for future success, and it's being consistent with how you treat others and how you try to live your life, because that can really make a difference.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Man, oh man, what an interview. This was a
Yeah,
great, fulfilling. I learned a lot from this. Thank you again, Austin, for coming. I
absolutely.
mean, this was a great interview. I'm excited for what's ahead of you. You deserve this. Congratulations. He was
Absolutely.
also my former GA, so it's
Yeah.
great seeing one of my former coaches having success in
Yeah.
finding his dreams. So yeah. Well, that's it for the show today. If you like what you saw today, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, give it up for Austin Blake.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks, go out. I really appreciate it, man.
All good, all good. You're always welcome. Have a great day, everyone.